going on, Jeromes? It's a beautiful Saturday. Birds are chirping and stuff, and doing up another Q&A. Feels good to be back in the saddle, although obviously do wish that I was in Vegas, but of course, scheduling snafu. Excited for extended family Christmas. Can't miss that. Can't miss that. No. No, for real. I always love Christmas gatherings, but I do have a little FOMO because seeing friends and associates and just Vikings fans in general on the old social media out in Vegas. Should have stayed. Yeah, I should just move. Who knows, man? Anyways, first up. Wolf, I love the content. Been watching for a couple years now. Thank you. And there's no better Vikings podcast, IMO. I don't know, man. Like, we're probably like 17th. I'll take that, though. We're top 20. Love the jokes, too. My question is, what's worst case scenario for the rest of the season, and how would you feel if we made the Super Bowl and lost? Let's see. Do we get rid of the schedule? No. Well, I guess worst case scenario is obviously just losing out. But it'd be one thing if you just got boat raced in all of the games, but just having such close woulda, coulda, shoulda games, I actually think that would be the worst. So the Vikings, Vikings running schedule. Yeah, losing to the Raiders close, losing to the Bengals close, and then just, it would not be good. And going to the Super Bowl and losing. We actually pondered this question a couple months ago. It's like, making the Super Bowl and losing, would you sign up for that? I know a lot of people will stick their chest out and be like, no. But also remember, this team hasn't made the Super Bowl since 1977. And I understand, like, there's no such thing as participation trophies or silver linings or whatever, but getting to the Super Bowl would be an accomplishment and a step in the right direction with this team. But I would still be devastated. Although, if I knew that they're going to lose, all in on the money line on the other team. Actually, how much are they going to lose by? It's important, too. Ish Wande. Do you think Jaren Hall has a chance to be our franchise quarterback? He seemed good those two drives, and the coaches praised him, so I just want to see him play more. I do think that he has a chance. I think that he has the tools and demeanor to potentially be something. Now, I do sort of buy Kevin O'Connell's explanation because I do think that we've seen Dobbs play at a high level. Jaren Hall, he's going to be here. And this isn't sink or swim for him right now. We don't have to decide if he's going to be the guy or not this year because he's going to be here for 3 more seasons. But I do think that Jaren Hall has traits. I like his mobility. I like his deep ball accuracy. I like that he takes care of the football. Blues. What do you think are the main bulletin points for the Vikings to get the W this weekend in Las Vegas? Max Crosby. Yeah, take care of Max Crosby, and basically everything else will take care of itself. Get a little heat on Aiden O'Connell. Their offense, don't want to say it's bad because they're professionals, but it's so disjointed. Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. Next, Shikataru. If Brian Flores gets a head coaching job, do you think we pursue Bill Belichick for DC? Thank you for all your positive content. Now, I think Belichick, well, first off, I think the Patriots are going to trade him. But even if they just fire him, he'll be out of a job for like 2 seconds. Like Belichick, even though it's pretty clear that, Brady was a big part of that successful run. Belichick is still one of the better defensive coaches in the league. And I do think that I think he's going to get traded. I think that the DC commies, I think that Magic Johnson and company, they want to make a big splash, and getting Belichick to Washington makes sense. It'll almost be like when Washington brought in Vince Lombardi after his run with the Packers, where they try and land a big name and just try and make a big splash there. I think that's what's going to happen. Traveler, do you think Chandler will start getting the rock again against the Raiders, or was the Bears game what we can expect going forward? My dilapidated fantasy team needs the insight. I think that it will be pretty close to what happened in the Broncos game, where Ty Chandler and Madison were basically splitting work. I think that's what it'll be for the rest of the way. Sean Johnson, what do you think of Wes Welker's comments that he thought Tyreek Hill was better than Randy Moss and insinuated that Moss couldn't run the whole route tree? Well, here's the thing, too. Tyreek Hill doesn't run the whole route tree either. But also, if you're so good at, say, like a third of the route tree, the rest doesn't matter. Like, hey, you know who could run the full route tree? BC Johnson. Who are you going to take, BC Johnson or Randy Moss, right? And also, I mean, let's not get twisted. Like, Randy Moss was a very precise route runner. He was just so good at goes and skinny posts that, I mean, and corners. Like, what else are you going to do? Mm-hmm. So I think Welker's talking out of his ass here, even though obviously he's teammates with Randy Moss. Get out here. Stefan Sabinow, what are your 3 favorite movies? I would say, like, if I could only watch 3 movies for the rest of the time, I would pick The Godfather Part 1. Actually, ooh. Godfather Part 1, Ocean's 11, Rounders. I want to put The Town in there. I'm not going to lie. I do think that The Town is one of the most underrated movies of the last 30 years. I really do. Like, it's, it's got action. It's got a great plot. Affleck is fantastic. Jeremy Renner, it's one of his best performances. It's just a great movie. I just like heist movies in general. I'm in. Like, here's like, if it's a heist movie or a submarine movie or a submarine heist movie, like Hunt for Red October, I'm in. Done. Dom all day. Is there any possibility of retaining B-Flow this next season? Prior to the season, I thought our defense would be a liability. No worries. Clearly, I was mistaken. Brian Flores has them playing their tails off. I think Brian Flores, given what happened to him in Miami, I think he wants to be very selective about what his next job is going to be. I think that he has to be on the same page as the owner and the GM. It's got to be a good situation, because I truly believe that Flores is having a great time just working with this defense here, being able to work with his guys, his side of the ball. And it's not like Flores has been a head coach, and it's not like a spot where a young up-and-coming head coach is just going to take any job that's available, right? So Flores is going to have options, and if the Vikings keep him, like, he'll get a raise. Like, he'll probably be one of the highest-paid assistants in the league. So, yeah, I'm actually rosier about keeping Flores, even though it's going to be a very, very fast and furious head coaching market. I think that there could be 7-8 openings at least. There goes up. Pretty disappointed you're not making the Vegas trip. Was looking forward to meeting you, sporting my new Purple for the Win snapback. What up? Yeah. I mean, yell at my family. Move Christmas back to the 16th. Traveler, when are you doing a video on how the Vikings need to go after Tim Boyle? Well, hey, if Tim Boyle brings his guys, Randall Cobb. Todd Haysbrook, what is one pick from last year's draft you would change? This feels like Lewis Scene bait. Or who did the Vikings take ahead of Sam Howell? Was it Asazi? Either way, I guess you go back in time, and instead of Lewis Scene, you could go Kyle Hamilton, sure, but I would have picked Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis is a monster, man. Rob's 1904. What would be your favorite quarterback in the 2024 class as of right now? Honestly, it's Jaden Daniels. And this might be a little bit of prisoner of the moment, because, I mean, I do think that Drake May has a chance to go 1, because I think teams will fall in love with his measurables. I do think that there's some cracks in Caleb Williams' armor. But Jaden Daniels is just a lot of fun. And now you could say, yeah, it's a college-style offense, but a lot of his traits, I think, are translatable to the league, especially if you have an OC willing to buy in. Also, Jaden Daniels looks really good in purple and gold. Not going to lie, man. Knack Dog, why do you think they didn't select Hall as a starter? The praise him in interviews. If he's the guy, we don't have to go a quarterback high in the draft. We all know JJ wants Kirko Chains back. What's reasonable and justified, even if he comes back and a good or better. So I think right now, I mean, the Vikings are obviously still in the playoff places, still in playoff contention. And I think that they see that Dobbs, he's a veteran, a guy who started all season, and even though he's had some low lows, he's had some high highs. I think that they think that Dobbs gives up the best chance right now. With Jaren Hall, yes, there's a lot to like about the future, but there's still going to be some rookie growing pains. And right now, the Vikings, the Vikings got to gamble. We've said this a bunch. The Vikings, and you know who's capable of getting on a hot streak? Josh Dobbs. All right, so the Vikings, need to keep pressing their bets. Like this is craps before they 7 out. But here's saying, like, if the Vikings were 4-8 and out of contention, I think it would be Jaren Hall. For obvious reasons, where you want to see what you have. But I think the Vikings internally, like they know what they have. Maybe seeing Jaren Hall for a year, maybe that will even dissuade them from taking a quarterback high next season. Maybe they do see Hall as a viable option, even though they haven't seen it in regular season game situation. Oh, except for that one drive against the Falcons. First drive was 3 and out. Second drive was really good. Next, Aces Films. With Massive struggling this season, do you see the Vikings drafting a running back to potentially replace him or trade him to another team? No one's trading for him in that contract. I could see draft, although teams don't really draft running backs high anymore, but mid to late, sure. Yeah. Milo, how soon until you start your own mock drafts? I don't know, a month. Yeah. Bob, Minnesota Sports Cards. If JJ goes off these last 5 games and finishes around 1,200 receiving yards, 7 touchdowns, do you think he can get any All-Pro or Pro Bowl consideration? Probably not All-Pro, but Pro Bowl as like a fan vote, yes, absolutely. Chucky, I still want to know where the between the plays play caller opens. It shuts down 15 seconds on the play clock, but when does it open? I believe it opens right when the play clock winds. So once the ball is set and the play clock is ticking, I think that's when it opens for both quarterback as well as defensive player. That's still 6 we got. Yeah. Quentin Berg, do you think JJ will make a run at 1K? He's got like 500 and change now. I think we calculated he has to get 82.5 yards a game. The last 5, yes, I think he'll get it. Scully, what do you think is the worst loss for the Vikings, Kirk Cousins or Teddy Bridgewater? I would say it's probably Kirk. So Teddy's injury was obviously a lot scarier and a lot more serious. But in terms of its impact on the team, 2016, was a toss-up as it is. We're hoping that Teddy was going to make a big-time leap in year 3. But, where Kirk was playing at an MVP level, and the Vikings were, getting going. They were, they were getting off the mat after 0-3, 1-4. They were getting to 4-4, wanting some more, and then Kirk popped it against the Packers, and it really sucked. So in terms of impact on that season's team, Kirk. Traveler, I see Taylor Swift won Person of the Year. They obviously knew she skipped the Vikings game. The disrespect for the Vikings has no bounds. Time Magazine now makes the list. Insert Ryan of The Office graphic. So, yeah, Taylor Swift's gone to a bunch of Jason Kelsey's brothers' games, but she conspicuously skipped Minneapolis. After a summer where she came in, did a couple of shows at US Bank Stadium, took everyone's money, and then just left. But just like, oh, I'll go to Green Bay. Oh, I'll go to Chicago. Oh, I'll go to all the Chiefs' home games. K. Fizzle. This season has proved Daniil is worth all the money. Cap is a myth, but is there a way to pay Daniil and JJ and Kirk and Powell and Reisner and Darisaw extension? How would you rank these based on need to re-sign? Yes, they can work all of them out. In terms of priority, I would go JJ, Daniil, Darisaw. Now, I'm not saying that Daniil is more important for the future than Darisaw. Darisaw is just under contract for a couple more seasons with the 5th-year option. So I would go JJ, Daniil, Darisaw, Kirk, Reisner, Powell. There you go. Duke, 20. What would the record be if injuries didn't exist? 8-4. Hell, they're almost 8-4 with the injuries. They should have beat the Broncos, should have beat the Bears. Steak, I'm defiantly still a believer. Don't get me wrong. Is it supposed to be definitely or defiantly? Actually, it works either way. But do you think Kevin O'Connell is truly the person to take us to the next level? Kwesi, too, if you have time to answer both. I like what Kwesi has done with the roster. I think that it's a good balance between analytics and football. And O'Connell, I think that he's a good leader. I think that he learns from his mistakes generally. He needs to get better at game management. He needs to be more aggressive in play calling. Maybe he needs to give up play calling. Maybe he just needs to be like the CEO versus the VP of the offense, and let Wes Phillips do his thing. But I like Kevin O'Connell's demeanor. I give him a little bit of leeway because I understand that he's learning on the job and on the fly. I think we have a good one. Tyler Johnson, guitar. You have to fight a Minnesota Vikings defensive end, past or present, in a UFC match. Who are you taking? Not fighting Daniil, not fighting Everson, not fighting Jared Allen. Actually, I might fight Jared Allen because I don't think that he would take it too seriously. I think that Jared Allen's a lover, not a fighter. B-Rob is a low-key physical freak. You ever look at his spider chart from the Combine from back in the day? This feels like a bait question, so I should say Ray Edwards because Ray Edwards was a horrible boxer. But also, a lot of all right. So in the UFC match, which of these guys have a wrestling background? Because I ain't effing with them. But Scott Crichton, maybe, or Aude Aruna, Now, you said Vikings defensive end, past or present. Can I fight them right now? Because if so, I would pick like a really old guy like Carl Eller. Maximize my chances. We'll see. Merle Hexam. Ravens call Zay for Addison straight up. Who are you taking? I'll keep Addison. Zay Flowers is gonna be great, but so is Addison. And for me, right now it's Zay and Addison. It's JSN. It's Quentin Johnston. It's Puka. Let's hear. It's Azeal. My only question is still wondering is Zero playing? Marcus Davenport? Haven't heard anything. That's messed up. Carl Gerbschmidt. There we go. Not Kevin Seifert. So Flores gets a head coaching job. The Vikings get the 3rd round pick, correct? What about Rob Salah for DC if he is fired from the Jets? Yeah, I would certainly take Rob Salah running down the wing as DC. So it's a head coaching job. I believe that's correct. Yeah, I think that's correct. Hayden Wayne, where is Davenport and status on him? Haven't heard anything about advantage or something. I don't think he's coming back. Otherwise, they would have talked about it. I think he's done. 2, I believe the Lions could easily lose out the rest of their games. All right, so take a look at the Lions schedule. So, 2 against the Vikes. Those are 2 wins for us and 2 L's for them. They're at Chicago. I mean, the Bears almost beat them a couple weeks ago. They're hosting the Broncos, and the Broncos have gotten off the mat. How many times do they play in primetime? Then at Dallas. That'd be a good game. That'd be a good game, man. There you go. So, I mean, it's possible. They're definitely not going 5-0. Tell you that much. Let's see here. Spirals. Do you think Kevin O'Connell should keep his job this offseason? Yes. I think this year injuries have to factor in, and also last year, 13-4, you won the division. That's going to make owners happy. Kanye West biggest fan. If Josh Dobbs throws even 1 interception, pull him out and put Hall in the second. He does, yes. I'd be down for that, although it seems like Nick Mullins is going to be QB2. Jay Delorme. Why are Vikings versus Bears games so ugly so often, win or lose? I think it's just because of the divisional rivalry, and I think that styles do make fights, and the Vikings and the Bears generally have been sort of slogged out teams, and yeah, just familiarity, being in division, rivalry game. I don't know what it is like, because like Vikings-Packers games aren't like this. Yeah, even like Bears-Packers games aren't necessarily like this, but yeah, you're right. It does seem to happen like that. But that's it. That's this week's Q&A. You guys are the best. Skol. Some production value.